Bullying. Do you really know what you're up against? Hi, I'm Caitlin, and today we're going to be talking about bullying. We'll be talking about the history of bullying, how many kids or people are being bullied every year, what are the 4 main types of bullying, how we can help, and a really interesting and moving video about bullying. Did you know? Anti-Bullying Day started as a protest against a bullying incident at Central Kings Rural High School in Nova Scotia. One day, a boy was bullied because he wore a pink shirt to school. Days later, students and staff participated by wearing pink to symbolize a stand against bullying. How many? 70% of kids in the entire world get bullied, and that's worse than you think. That's out of 1.9 billion kids. It's not just kids. Teenagers and even adults are affected. Each year, 4,400 of them decide to end their life once and for all. All of these teenagers ended their life for good, such as these 4. Amanda Todd, Kayla Wright, James Rodmere, and Amanda Coda. What are the 4 main types of bullying? The 4 main types of bullying are physical, emotional, verbal, and cyberbullying. Physical bullying. Physical bullying can include actions such as hitting, kicking, punching, scratching, spitting, or slapping, or any other kind of physical action. Damage to or taking someone else's belongings may also be considered as physical bullying. Emotional bullying. Someone can be emotionally hurt from such acts as spreading rumors or stories about someone, not including someone into groups or activities. Verbal bullying. But words can't hurt you, right? That saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me," is completely untrue. If someone calls you names, it makes you feel bad about yourself. This leads to depression, cutting, overdosing pills, which people do this to make hurt more than depression, which is nearly impossible. What is cyberbullying? Cyberbullying is bullying on the internet, such as texting, online messaging boards, online chat, emails, social websites like Facebook, mobile calling, etc. So we just finished one of the main types of bullying, and now we are going to move on. Here's an interesting video about bullying. By simply watching this video, To This Day, a word poem written by Shane Koyczan.
When I was a kid, I used to think that pork chops and karate chops were the same thing. I thought they were both pork chops. And because my grandmother thought it was cute, and because they were my favorite, she let me keep doing it. Not really a big deal. One day, before I realized fat kids are not designed to climb trees, I fell out of a tree and bruised the right side of my body. I didn't want to tell my grandmother about it because I was scared I'd get in trouble for playing somewhere I shouldn't have been. A few days later, the gym teacher noticed the bruise and I got sent to the principal's office. From there, I was sent to another small room with a really nice lady who asked me all kinds of questions about my life at home. I saw no reason to lie. As far as I was concerned, life was pretty good. I told her whenever I'm sad, my grandmother gives me karate chops. This led to a full-scale investigation, and I was removed from the house for 3 days until they finally decided to ask how I got the bruises. News of this silly little story quickly spread through the school, and I earned my first nickname, Pork Chop. To this day, I hate pork chops. I'm not the only kid who grew up this way. Surrounded by people who used to say that rhyme about sticks and stones. As if broken bones hurt more than the names we got called, and we got called them all. So we grew up believing no one would ever fall in love with us. That we'd be lonely forever. That we'd never meet someone to make us feel like the sun was something they built for us in their tool shed. So broken heartstrings bled the blues as we tried to empty ourselves so we would feel nothing. Don't tell me that hurts less than a broken bone. That an ingrown life is something surgeons can cut away. that there's no way for it to metastasize, it does. She was 8 years old. Our first day of grade 3 when she got called ugly. We both got moved to the back of class so we would stop getting bombarded by spitballs. But the school halls were a battleground where we found ourselves outnumbered day after wretched day. We used to stay inside for recess because outside was worse. Outside we'd have to rehearse running away or learn to stay still like statues, giving no clues that we were there in grade 5. They taped a sign to the front of her desk that read, "Beware of dog." To this day, despite a loving husband, she doesn't think she's beautiful because of a birthmark that takes up a little less than half her face. Kids used to say she looks like a wrong answer that someone tried to erase but couldn't quite get the job done. And they'll never understand that she's raising 2 kids whose definition of beauty begins with the word mom. Because they see her heart before they see her skin. Because she's only ever always been amazing. He was a broken branch grafted onto a different family tree. Adopted. Not because his parents opted for a different destiny. He was 3 when it became a mixed drink of 1 part left alone and 2 parts tragedy. Started therapy in 8th grade. Had a personality made up of tests and pills. Lived like the uphills were mountains and the downhills were cliffs. 4/5 suicidal, a tidal wave of antidepressants, and an adolescence being called pauper. 1 part because of the pills, 99 parts because of the cruelty. He tried to kill himself in grade 10 when a kid who could still go home to mom and dad had the audacity to tell him, "Get over it." As if depression is something that can be remedied by any of the contents found in a first aid kit. To this day, he is a stick of TNT lit from both ends. Could describe to in detail the way the sky bends in the moments before it's about to fall. And despite an army of friends who all call him an inspiration, he remains a conversation piece between people who can't understand. Sometimes being drug-free has less to do with addiction and more to do with sanity. We weren't the only kids who grew up this way. To this day, kids are still being called names. The classics were, "Hey stupid," "Hey spaz." Seems like every school has an arsenal of names getting updated every year. And if a kid breaks in a school and no one around chooses to hear, do they make a sound? Or they're just background noise from a soundtrack stuck on repeat when people say things like kids can be cruel? Every school was a big top circus tent, and the pecking order went from acrobats to lion tamers, from clowns to carnies. All of these miles ahead of who we were freaks. Lobster claw boys and bearded ladies. Oddities juggling depression and loneliness, playing solitaire, spin the bottle, trying to kiss the wounded parts of ourselves and heal. But at night, while the others slept, we kept walking the tightrope. It was practice, and yes, some of us fell. But I want to tell them that all of this is just debris left over when we finally decide to smash all the things we thought we used to be. And if you can't see anything beautiful about yourself, get a better mirror. Look a little closer. Stare a little longer. Because there's something inside you that made you keep trying despite everyone who told you to quit. You built a cast around your broken heart and signed it yourself. You signed it. They were wrong. Because maybe you didn't belong to a group or a clique. Maybe they decided to pick you last for basketball or everything. Maybe you used to bring bruises and broken teeth to show and tell but never told. Because how can you hold your ground if everyone around you wants to bury you beneath it? You have to believe that they were wrong. They have to be wrong. Why else would we still be here? We grew up learning to cheer on the underdog because we see ourselves in them. We stem from a root planted in the belief that we are not what we were called. We are not abandoned cars stalled out and sitting empty on some highway. And if in some way we are, don't worry. We only got out to walk and get gas. We are graduating members from the class of We Made It. Not the faded echoes of voices crying out names will never hurt me. Of course, they did. But our lives will only ever always continue to be a balancing act that has less to do with pain and more to do with beauty.
Well, thank you for watching that really interesting video. It really touched me when I first watched it, I can tell you that. How can we help? We can tell parents if this happens, or an adult you trust, just to make peace. But if you stand by and do nothing, that's called a bystander. They're just as bad. You can also help by going to these websites for more information and tools to help those that are being bullied. www.kidshelpphone.ca, www.stopbullying.gov/whatisbullying, www.thebullyingproject.com. Thank you very much for watching. I covered the history of bullying, the 4 main types of bullying, how many kids were bullied, and I showed you that really interesting video about bullying. So remember, stand up and don't be afraid to express who you really are. Thank you for watching this video about bullying. I hope this helps everybody that are being bullied out there, tells them what bullying really is and stuff like that. So, thank you. Bullying. Do you really know what you're up against? You never really do. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.